to float out of here and try to drift into space. I don't know who I am. Who I am, I don't know. Who I am, I don't know. Who I am. I should have gone away, but I do not know where you're going. No, I don't. No, 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 I don't know who I am. I don't know who I am. I don't know who
Oh, welcome to the beach and welcome back to the European Beach Ultimate Championships as the party in Portimao continues. Germany versus Great Britain in the men's Grandmaster division. And Germany in the white, Great Britain in the red and blue. Both these teams with mountains of experience between them, but it's Germany on offense to start this game. Kitzmann spins the disc across to the far side and Surter. Carla has it now. Midfield. Great Britain coming out with a fairly tight one-on-one mark. Myself, Tom Stiles, alongside Hannah Pendlebury for this game. Hannah, excitement in the Grandmasters division. These two teams, big expectations for the tournament. A big disc into the end zone, and it's brought down for a first clean offensive hold. Andreas Karl with the first point of the game for Germany.
Yeah, not sure how Karl managed to be quite so free in the back of the end zone. Blown coverage there, 2 white shirts. And yeah, just the one GB defender, but nice patient offense there from the Germans. Good movement. Yeah, we were just chatting before the game with our stats man Brian, and we were discussing the lithe look of the GB side comparative to the Germans. But clearly they managed to make pretty handy work and a perfect conversion to start us off.
Well, this Great Britain side is quite a force to be reckoned with. Between them, they have 361 years of playing, 50 national titles, 54 European titles, 4 world titles. And they've got 4 players who have been playing together for 21 years. Cy Weeks with a quick dish forward. Cy Hill. Rick Shipley back to Cy Hill. Cross goes to Paul Atkins. Ex-Fusion Scottish player. Cross to Shipley. Into the end zone for Weeks, and it's a quick and easy movement. That connection between these players going back a long, long way. Rick Shipley and Cy Weeks used to be on the opposite end of 2 of the best indoor teams in the country back when I started playing. This is sort of 2000, 2001, Rick Shipley for the Mexican Horse Bandits. And
what a team name.
And yeah, Cy Weeks was, when he first came on the scene, was picked up quite quickly by Chevron Action Flash when they still played indoors back in the day.
Yes, a household name in the open ultimate scene, our Chevron Action Flash. I've seen, so one of the beautiful things about the Great Grandmasters, Masters, and obviously and the Grandmasters divisions here is that we have so many community-focused players, and I think you have to give a shout out to Cy Hill as like the man of UKU Ultimate over in Great Britain. But I've seen Cy Weeks at so many tournaments. He never seems to age and never seems to slow down on sand. So
no, he's still 23 as far as I'm concerned.
He still looks about 23 as well. Perhaps he's aging backwards like Benjamin Button style.
Schur has a disc for Germany now. Across to Volter. Kitzmann. Germany creating a lot of space and running hard, but there's pressure from Great Britain on their back at all times. Lang has it now. That down the line cut has been well found by Lang. Great Britain's skill just floated it into the path of the 77 shirt. Lang has it back now, looking for options. But he now finds a knifey, bladey shot into the end zone. Superb work from Lang. 2 great discs to expose the space. Kitzmann with the reception in the end zone.
We saw a little hand gesture there from Dave Seeley. It'd been such intense, absolutely smothering coverage all from the beginning of that point, and then just seemed to lose their marks at the end. Bit too much separation, allowing the visionary throw to go up. And again, we're starting to see the wind now as we move into the midsection of the day slowly, gently pick up. Perhaps that will become a factor as we see the game progress. Certainly this morning it was nice and timid, which in the more veteran divisions it's exciting because it gets us a few more creative throw choices.
Well, creative throw choice is exactly what we're hoping for in this game. Hill to Mitchell. Bolton now. It's Rob McGowan cutting up the inside. Paul Atkins available deep, but finds back to Mitchell and Hill. Atkins on the inside, nice break from Cy Hill, just leans out and finds that angle. Stu Mitchell looks off Rob McGowan into the end zone, hadn't quite got free of his defender. Mitchell floats it into the path of Hill, who runs through, and a Cy Hill goal, a rare occurrence and one to celebrate as he bangs the disc onto his head. No one saw that coming. 2 each.
Indeed, lovely upline cut, textbook stuff from Cy Hill, and yet lovely to see a little cheeky spike there at the end just to garnish that score with a little bit of flair. But that was just really athletic offense there. It's just grinding away, nice movement of the disc, never looked static, just working it and just breaking through to that open side for the score.
The flow that the Great Britain team and the speed at which they're moving is really quite impressive. Completely clean offense so far, no turnovers. The Germans scored there 2 points with 11 passes and 8 passes. Great Britain done it in 8 passes both times. So there's no sort of like this one-shot ultimate that you quite often get with the younger players who've got a very active deep threat. Both teams working it up through the field. You see Lars Volter brings the disc to the line, being marked by Dave Grayson in the 3 shirt. Dave Barnard in the 11 shirt covering the other handler, and a vertical stack from the Germans coming out of the back of that. Great cut from Kubota. Back to Karl. Changing directions, the Germans having to work hard, but they keep the disc alive. Kai Salter.
Really good work switching upfield as the defense, as we see a forced errant throw there, really managing to smother any offense upfield.
This is the first chance for a break for Great Britain. That's the first turnover of the game. Barnard looking for Grayson. Grayson is available on that break side. Barnard still looking at the open side as Rolf cuts out the end zone, loses the visor in the process. Floats across to Barnard. Barnard had Grayson available, but finds Rolf there. Good combination, good patience. 100% passes all the way into the end zone. And that's the first break of the game for Great Britain.
Yes, Rolf there, as you say, losing his visor, reeling in the score. A long-term Brighton player, so he's very, very much used to throwing in the windy coastal conditions. But seeing on the other side of that pass as Barnard just pops it in. Well, actually, we're a little bit earlier than that, so but those two working clearly very well together. So the sun now has disappeared behind the clouds, Tom. It's getting a wee bit chilly up here in the booth as the wind picks up.
Well, this was the situation we had yesterday. The most glorious start to the day. We really thought we were gifted with perfect conditions for ultimate. Bit of a breeze, but bright sunshine, nice and warm. And then by the end of the day, the wind, probably still pretty good conditions for playing, but the wind was causing a bit of difficulty for the players. But up in the... For anybody who was standing on the sideline, it was freezing cold. Everybody wrapped up in the stands. Well,
to be fair, we were playing until just after 7 o'clock, so the sun does tend to go down this early in the year. But again, an error by the Germans, giving the disc back to Great Britain.
Tim Kolstad sending that disc a little bit too low. Felgner could not quite get down. Wayne Davey. Across to Rob Whitehouse, a man with one of the biggest toolkits of throws available to him. The tall figure of Seeley just drops the shoulder, extends that long arm and pops a sharp shot into the end zone. Wayne Davey available.
And that's the second break in a row and a perfect defensive conversion, was that?
Yep, absolutely.
2 in a row, actually. 2 perfect defensive conversions for the Great Britain D-line, so they'll be pretty pleased about that effort.
Well, this Grandmasters side, and I was just saying before we started that as I've been watching the sport and as I've been in the sport, this is my peer group, which means that as I go into the different age brackets, I'm always competing with you know, the likes of Stu Mitchell and Cy Hill for places on all the teams. To be honest, there's no point in trying out, Hannah. You know, I'm realistic about my level of playing ability. It would take years of hard training to get myself either into the same ballpark as any of these guys. And, you know, frankly, my skills are better used elsewhere.
Well, I think, Tom, it's the issue of they are all training very hard. We see a call on the field there. Looks like to be a pick. But I have to give credit to the GB O-line as well. They haven't dropped the disc yet. There's been no turnovers whatsoever for Great Britain. Obviously, commentators cursed perhaps a little bit there, but...
Well, 21 is Andres Karl. I've seen him as a key handler for this German side. Big threat in this division is also the Swedish team. Looks very, very similar to the Skogs from back in the day. High stall count, floaty into the space. Dan Berry reaches up, not the tallest figure, but he read that, and it was a determined jump from the number 7 shirt.
Great clean bid as well, just slicing through the 2 defenders to get to the disc.
Grayson to Bolton, Bolton on the edge of the end zone. Grayson cuts in. Back to Rolfe. Rolfe to Whitehouse. Berry comes out again, and Berry's available. Grayson cutting. They want to make sure this is done properly. Push pass from Berry. Rolfe available at the back of the end zone. High grab. What a disc from Grayson that is. Superb work from Great Britain. 3 brokes on the bounce. Completely clean. So far, 5-2 they lead.
And that was, again, just a really nice piece of vision to roll far side. Got to give credit to also the cheeky push pass from Dan Berry, as you noted.
I think everything about Dan Berry's a bit cheeky. If you ever have a chat with him, he's a lovely, lovely man, and a very likable character. Came to the game quite late compared with a lot of other people, but has completely fallen in love with it. Spent a large part of his life, you know, dedicated to running teams and getting involved in organising tournaments and the sport in general.
Indeed, I believe his firm actually was the sponsor for London's Summer League for a short while.
That's right. They did loft conversions, didn't they, or something like that?
Yeah, Dan Berry Construction.
Yeah. Anyway.
So he's clearly successful, not just on the field, but also in business as well.
Rich colour here.
Oh, that's a sensational layout grab.
Dave Seeley gets horizontal and takes that first pass away, or third pass away from the Germans. Quick movement again from Great Britain. They are dominating this one. 11 shirt of Barnard pops it into the end zone. Davey running to that front corner. One of the older members of this team.
Oh, Rudiger Schmidt had a really great attempt at getting a layout block on that, but GB continues to look absolutely dominant, clean as it comes.
It's very difficult to see how the Germans are going to take the disc off Great Britain when they've got it on offense or they've got it on defense. They've just looked so tight. They're not going to give it up. They're not going to make mistakes, and the Germans have called a timeout. 6-2 they trail. Teams traded with clean offensive points for the first 4, but then it's been a 4-point run, and you know, quick they've scored. We're tracking passes today. Brian, our statistician, keeping us with all the stats, and a good even spread of the scores and assists across the team. Wayne Davey with 2 points, Barnard with 2 assists, and Ben Rolfe with 2 points. But apart from that, it's a single point spread around the roster, Hannah.
Indeed, such a depth in this Great Britain squad. But the Germans taking a sensible option of a timeout, time to have a little chat, regather their composure, hopefully. Because really, at the moment, Great Britain have just gone in a 5-point run with 4 breaks on the trot from the D-line. I mean, just you can't diminish the performance of GB, but this German team are not fools.
No.
They're all very capable players. It's just a case of that pressure is just so smothering at the moment. Such athleticism, the coverage is so tight. Only when sort of, you know, GB have sort of poached off a little bit, the wily throws have managed to come out and get them some scores on the board. But when it's, I think, match for match, very, very difficult. They're going to have to start playing a little bit smarter.
Well, I think also what you're going to start seeing now is the D-line rotate. We've had the same look from the offensive line for a few points, and you know, if they're playing 4 points in a row, the D-line are going to be looking and saying, come on, let us have a crack at this offensive malarkey.
Yeah, and that's a switch you have to make quickly, because the thing is, obviously, if you are the D-line and you've been off for so many points, it's so difficult to get not only your body, but your head, your mentality back in the game.
We're just looking at the sideline here, and actually I don't think they have made that many switches. There's the same players that we've yet to really see contribute are still on the sideline. Disc from Barnard, always the puller when he was playing Great Britain Open. Still, he was doing pulling coaching clinics at one point as well. 21 is Carl. He has a disc back now for Germany. Good movement here, but the defense is closing them down.
You can see actually the German players, they are looking behind them to see where the defense is. They're almost scared, but that's a great shot.
Oh, that is a superb disc from Volter all the way down the field. The grateful reception from Kai Salter.
And see we are, they're playing a bit smarter, looking at where the defense is set, finding that separation. And that's nice to see the Germans playing with a good amount of confidence, just putting it up.
Kai Scholter been playing for 25 years, 44-year-old from Braunschweig. I don't know where that is in Germany.
Well, I have the power of the internet, so we can find out.
Google it. Google Bing that. He claims his highlight of his ultimate playing career was playing WBUC in Dubai, where the German team there beat Canada.
And of course, the lovely thing about beach is that you get it just allows you to have a longer playing career with less impact on the joints.
See the tall figure of Schilling here. And the 42 shirt. He's trying to contain Cy Weeks, and we all know how that tends to end as Cy Weeks comes underneath. Schilling trying to get ground, cannot contain the number 4 shirt. Cy Weeks back to Stu Mitchell. Rick Shipley cutting, gets it across to Atkins. Atkins to McGowan. Weeks is cutting deep. Shipley has it now. Traps a leg underneath his German opponent and then jams it into Cy Weeks, and poor old Eric Schilling, who was given the task of trying to contain Cy Weeks, just looking on like, oh, how do you live with that? He just changes directions like you wouldn't believe.
Yes, and he has both hands on his hips as he walks towards us off the sideline, but that's great composure from Shipley. Just the core strength needed to maintain your balance whilst you have your leg trapped under your mark. Fantastic skills on display. But talking about the unenviable task of having to mark Cy Weeks, it really is. We talk about it so much as commentators, players who are dangerous on both sides of the disc. And that is a key example. It's someone who, and to be fair, those players are aplenty in the veteran divisions, but particularly the speed that Weeks has, it's just, yeah, you really just need to put your best rapid mark on him and just pray to good God that he doesn't get broken.
Yeah. And Cy's been through, you know, a hell of a career physically as well. I remember after Southampton in 2005, was it?
We're going way back, back in the annals of ultimate history in the UK.
He got a complete calf reconstruction after totally exploded his Achilles. Here he is with the disc again now to Cy Hill. Stu Mitchell into the end zone. Joe Bolton running that one down, and they are making it look very, very straightforward. Great play from Great Britain coming out of the half. They will take, that's 8-3.
Yeah, that was a gorgeous put. And I don't know if we'll get to see it, but you can see the German defender just commiserations, just really knowing he's been had and just can't do anything about it. Just the speed that GB have on the sand right now is just crazy good.
Yeah, I mean, these players have always been, you know, the fastest guys around. And they're still at their very, very best. And, you know, you look at how they shape up. They're all super slim. They're all super fit. They're all super athletic and still playing, a lot of them at very, very high club level. Whereas I think for some of the other players in this division, this will have been, you know, a nice return to the game rather than, you know, a continuation of their already stellar careers.
Well, we have seen the likes of Barnard. He's now coaching Guildford Ultimate, so transitioning away.
Lang now for Germany. Moving across, good cut from Volta. Sends it to Sulter. Back to Lang again. Lang, oh, that is a nice disc from Lang. Spicy into the end zone. Barnard left standing as Lars Volta sprints into the end zone. A good solid offensive point from Germany, Hannah.
Yes, indeed. I think perhaps there was a miscommunication on a switch there as we see two of the GB defenders have a little chat with each other, shaking their heads. But as I say, it's the German scores are coming from when they're spotting opportunities. They're seeing the field, the whole field, great vision, and they're just knowing the small spots that they can get into, the kind of moments of pause when GB sort of, their defenses come down and the Germans are on it. So they're still in this game. It's just so much of a grind for them trying to get the disc away from GB when they have it.
And actually, when you look at the stats for this game, apart from the 4 points where they were broken, the Germans haven't been turned over. But that is going to be the way Great Britain play. If they get the disc, they're going to score. The stats tell us that that's what's happening here.
Well, we're currently in just a game of trading at the moment. Since, like you say, that 4 points, 4 breaks in a row, 5-point roll, it's just been trading it out.
Yeah, devastating middle section of that first half. As Cy Hill breaks the force and exposes all the space on the field for Rob McGowan. Joe Bolton sends the disc back. Cy Hill again, just a little backhand float into Rick Shipley. Shipley back to Hill. Hill looked off McGowan. McGowan turns back in the end zone. He's still the only person in there. This time Paul Adkins cutting in there for Bolton. Bolton has the disc. Back to Shipley. Adkins coming out with real vengeance and pace ahead of his German counterpart. Sends the fake, creates a bit of space, and then back to Cy Hill. Hill, oh, he almost faked that hammer. He had a look at it. He had to think about it, put it back in the holster. McGowan does the same. And call on the play, a pick called, I think.
I really like the conservative way which GB's offense is currently running, because they could be putting things out, probably, you know, just use their power to just run through and get the disc still, but they're really choosing their options wisely.
Yeah, absolutely right. Shipley with that one-handed grab goes to the sand. Back to Hill. Hill looking for something in the end zone. Paul Adkins runs to the back corner, and Cy Hill's disc skills are legendary for a reason. Perfectly floated right into the spot where Paul Adkins had all the time and no defender near him. Great takedown for Great Britain. Long point, though.
Hey, that's a great play for the German defense, though. I just complimented GB on their conservative options, and that one was perhaps not exactly a risky choice, but a slightly less comfortable look. It was definitely, you know, a much closer, much tighter defense. So credit to the German defense, making GB have to work a little bit harder for that point.
Yeah, they were a lot closer, weren't they? And not so, you know, you mentioned halfway through the point quite how careful Great Britain were being. And, you know, this is, these players know how to value the disc. And they know they've got the skills to do it as well. They'll take the time, they'll take the extra passes. We've not really seen a particularly expansive long game from Great Britain. It's all been very steady. The upside down thumber pull.
Oh, giving the fans what they want, Tom.
Carl starts it up into the middle of the pitch for Schul. Lang now. Carl available for the reset if he needs, and he is going to need. Berry marking. Carl again looks downfield. Schure's done the hard work to come out. Germany making good passes here, but not making much progress up the sand. Lang across to Carl. On the far side of the field, it's Kitzman. Good running, there's going to be some pressure on this, and it's just beyond the outstretched hands of David Kubota. Goes to the sand.
See, now this has been the problem for the German side. It's largely, most of their turnovers have been just slight overthrows where GB are really pushing them to the edges of their offense.
They know they need to throw in front of the player because they can't put it anywhere near the defender. Whitehouse now for Great Britain. Oh, that is a nice shot. Just drops the shoulder, finds Dan Berry running free in that near corner. Down the line, textbook stuff from Great Britain. And they have this one at the moment, 10-4.
Yes, 3 points shy of finishing this one out, RGB, with just 26 minutes expired.
Well, they really have raced through, you know, so quick. The lack of turnovers. You look at where the time goes in an ultimate game. It's fouls, long conversations, and turnovers, and there's been almost none of those things. Very, very clean. Only 5 turnovers the entire match, and no conversations to be had apart from how well Great Britain are doing.
Yeah, it really shows the experience of the throwers here, and that, as we say, all the turnovers have just been probably within about 10 centimetres of bidding German outstretched arms.
Yep.
There haven't been a single overthrow on a huck.
No.
It's just been absolute beautiful sitters. I mean, they are definitely benefiting from the fact that the conditions are still very calm and quite cool. So there's no overheating, there's no sun beating down on your neck, even though we are at 11:15 local time.
The European Beach Ultimate Championships here from Portimao, the Praia da Rocha beach, the Atlantic to our right, and a big outstretched hand of Dave Seeley takes the disc down out of the German first pass, but a foul uncontested by Seeley, and he's going to tap back in. Disc with Kolstadt, gets it across to Felgner. Back to Kolstadt and down the line to Schmidt. Into the end zone, but no touch. The disc dies in the sand before Christian Henk can get there.
Oh, and that's a commentator's curse there, Tom. I said that all of the throws had been nigh on perfectly executed, apart from the swings that have been a bridge too far, but there's an error from the Germans.
Mitchell starts us off with a laser disc across the field. Really gets the laces into that one. Whitehouse, again, that little drop of the shoulder and whip of the wrist. Plays a lot of disc golf as well, does Whitehouse, so he really knows how to move the disc around on both sides. Mitchell sends into the end zone. Davey running deep and gratefully collecting his 3rd point of the game, one of the senior members of this team, but you would not know it from his performance out here on the Portuguese sand.
And Great Britain take it to 11-4 now. I really like the German defense in that point particularly. There was some quite intelligent sagging out, poaching into the lane, trying and stifle the middle of the pitch for the GB offense. But eventually, as you say, Davey just going deep. Great separation, superb athleticism, easy score.
Yeah, Davey, extremely popular player around the scene. Another one that's involved in organising and running tournaments, lots of experience. Part of the, in fact, a lot of these players were part of the World Championship winning mixed masters side from Italy, 2011.
Besting the USA in that match, correct?
They did, yeah. Kitzman floats into space. There's going to be 2 Germans at it. Kubota picks up. Good job that Lang pulled out of that. We could have been a clash of bodies middle of the field. Grayson with a very aggressive mark. That's called a foul by Benjamin Lang.
No, I like the communication there. I think if we'd seen Lang try and get that one, it might have been, again, a touch too far. Whereas Kubota definitely had the much better position.
A little bit too aggressive from Grayson, and you can see that on the replay. Kubota's marked out by Weeks, but second time around, it's an incredible grab from Germany, sending the disc deep into the end zone from Lang, and it's pulled off the sand from Philip Kitzman, his second point of the game.
Yes, and that is grit and determination for you. The Germans still in this, still playing with such heart and intensity and spirit, even though they are staring at a 6-point deficit.
Yeah, Kitzman, a number 2 shirt, a 41-year-old from Hamburg, as an attorney specializing in employment law. And he was taught to play Ultimate by his physical ed teacher in 8th grade. And we'd like to reach back to that physical education teacher in the 8th grade and say thank you very much.
He's been playing, Tom, almost as long as I've been alive. Not to make you feel old,
no, I do.
Kitzman, but...
Rick Shipley to Paul Adkins. Floats it into space to Sahil. Great Britain have turned the disc over on offense. It's the first time it's happened all game. Miscommunication. Sahil was in a good space to take that disc, but he'd stopped and cut back for the reset. And Germany with a chance for their first break of the game. The first possession on defense of the game. Feldner. Back to Kolstad. Across the field to Adinger. Kolstad again. Floats into space for the tall figure of Schilling. Contact made by McGowan on the arm, uncontested. Disc will come back in on 0. The stall count from Rob McGowan. There's no referees or officials of any type. All the players involved making all the decisions. Kolstad again back to Schilling. Schilling across the end zone. Oh, it was a hero maker of a pass. A little bit too much spice on it for Eric Feldner. Could not reel it in, and a chest full of sand for his trouble.
Oh, that is so disappointing. That was just phenomenal. I just say, a potential hero maker of a throw. Very low, great effort. Full body extension, but just tips out of reach. But that's our first opportunity to see how Great Britain play defense when they turn it over on offense. And that was lion-hearted as they come.
Bolton now for Great Britain. Adkins to Shipley. Shipley's looking for Sahil deep, floats it up. Sahil's got this one all the way in and to the breadbasket. They're within 1 of the victory here. 12-3, and the second Sahil point of the game to go with his 1 assist.
You said it would be unusual, Tom,
Oh,
but we're seeing him on all sides of the disc this game.
Devastating pace used very carefully. So I guess what I'm saying is over the course of Sahil's career, his assist to point ratio is probably about 90% to 10%. You know, what's Sahil known for? Handling. He's a thrower. He's you know, he's the guy that gets the play started. Is the short upline cut to the reset on 8. You know, that's Sahil's role, and that's been his place for national sides, for Clapham, for Chevy when he played for Chevy South for a season as well.
Yes, a highly decorated player for sure. My own personal favourite Sahil memory is just about his game vision when he helped out the GB under-20 women's back in Heilbronn when they were playing against Japan. We had a 20-minute point that made the tournament newsletter, and he just positioned us perfectly. As we see it, German reach over the head.
Not quite got that same level of clinical. It was a difficult shot for Kitzman to catch. Again, he's the deep threat. Disc coming in over your head is always a tricky one. And a second time, turnover, the shot into Dan Berry, caught him off guard a little bit. Carl with a quick start to Volta. Volta looking to jack it into the corner, but there's no one available. Great coverage from Great Britain. Sends it across the front of the end zone a little bit too much.
And
no hang.
He had a completely poached dump. Just a case of both teams, I think, getting a little bit over-eager, a bit hot-headed in the latter stages of this game.
And Mike Palmer just stopping the play. Germany Grandmasters setting up. Carl on the mark. Palmer with the throw, looking for Barnard, finds him. On the sideline is Berry, cuts up the sideline now, safe Seeley looking deep. Barnard. Dave Seeley going deep, Barnard looking. Is he going to send it? He's not. He's going to find Whitehouse. Whitehouse, oh, what a throw from Whitehouse. Exposes the whole field. Into the end zone. The sand monster eats Dave Seeley's feet. The float from Berry was not quite there.
Yeah, I think he had a small ankle collision there with Volta as he was trying to turn, but...
oh, he's calling an injury as well, isn't he? So
No, he's just putting his hands on his head.
Okay.
He's been doing that all game. He looks, it's an interesting piece of body language, because as you say, it is the actual WFDF hand signal for an injury call, but it's sort of a bit, yeah, not the best, most confident body positioning.
Carl gets us started again for Germany, and this is a great floating disc to Kitzman. He reads it well. There's a bid. Oh, what a block! Dan Berry. He's got 6 inches less in height than Kitzman, but he's got a lion heart of determination to get down there, just the fingertips to it. There was nothing wrong with that disc. Dan Berry's made up 6 yards of ground and a fingertip to take it away from Kitzman. Great play from the number 7.
Yeah, Dan Berry's been giving us a masterclass of aerial defense this game. Make no mistake.
Seeley has it again. All 6'6" of him on the sideline. Back to Barnard. Barnard sees Seeley go deep. He's just going to plonk this up into space. Seeley runs it down, but determination from Lars Volta has banged that one away. Both players have run the full length of the pitch. I don't know if there's any foul call there. Volta's in no hurry to pick this disc up. No, he's going to leave it to Carl to come back and pick it up.
So this is an interesting piece of ultimate we've got right now. It's definitely so much miles sloppier than everything we've seen previously. Both teams absolutely fighting for it, but this is crucial. GB currently on their first match point.
Great flow from Sultan Shur into this corner. Looks for a first option, looks for a second option, floats it across the top, not quite into the end zone, off the knees, into the end zone. And I do believe that's a hold for Germany. But yeah, it's the first time we've seen such a messy point from both teams. In fact, we had 6 turnovers in that game, in that point, and up until 11-5, there'd only been 6 turnovers the entire game.
Yep.
Pretty amazing.
So I kind of started to say, but didn't want to talk over the German offense there at the end. But this is crunch point for finishing off this game. The Germans have suddenly swung a little bit of momentum in their favour. They're getting turns on GB. GB are making errors, and if we're going to say that perhaps GB are tipped to, be in the big matches towards the end of the week, how they finish this is really good practice for that crunch time situation, perhaps on Friday.
Oh, Adkins had to go to the ground. That Stu Mitchell pass was a little bit too far ahead of him. McGowan coming back now. Finds Mitchell on the far side. Cy Weeks is going deep. He's going to be running this one down. Has to go to the chest catch. The disc from Stu Mitchell is perfection, and finishing the way Great Britain have played all game. 13-6 they take this one, and with a 4-pass offense into the end zone. Yeah, a little stumble there the previous point, but there we go. That's the composure they want to be seeing and hitting in their stride towards the latter stages of the tournament. Great work from Germany. They had nothing to lose at the end of that game, and it's great to see them come back with some more tenacity and determination. Really well credited. I'm sure they'll continue to do well in the rest of the tournament, but I think just the athleticism and speed of GB just was a little bit too much for them to handle this morning. But what a game we had. Fantastic throws, great bids. Barely a call as well. It was very, very clean. Big props to Stu Mitchell for his 4 assists in that game, and Rick Shipley, he had 3 assists. The points coming from Wayne Davey had 3, and Cy Weeks had 3 as well. On the German side, Philip Kitzman with 3 goals, and Benjamin Lang with 3 assists. Kai Scholter with an assist and a goal, and Lars Volta with an assist and a goal as well. the Great Britain side looking forward to that big Swedish matchup. The Skogsgårdens team from back in 2009 that they faced when this team was playing a sort of Clapham and Chevy. But exciting times ahead, and we'll be with you all this week from the European Beach Ultimate Championships. Myself, Tom Stiles, alongside Hannah Pendlebury, our Ulti TV crew, and Brian, our statistician. Coming up in a short while, we'll have Ben Rees and Rachel Tosnerova doing the men's game, Belgium versus Portugal, the home side facing up against the big side from Belgium. And then after that, at 2:20 local time, it'll be Denmark versus Latvia in the women's division. Looking forward to that one, Hannah.
Oh, I certainly am, Tom. That's tipped to be a very good game indeed. Latvia is the women's side is the only representation from Latvia at this tournament, but they did fantastically well at Royam 2 years ago. So them versus the Danes should be a tasty one to watch indeed. But stay with us, half an hour's rest break, bit of respite, go make yourself some refreshments for your lunch. Join us again at 12 o'clock for the Belgian team versus Portugal.
EBUC in the sun, I see beach wherever I run, I see